Marc, thank you so much for joining us here at SuperReturn. It's good to be back. It's good to see you in person. How does it feel to be back at an event after this strange period we've been living through?
Well, it feels like it has been before, right? And it's really time, and it's nice to be back. It's the same environment, it's the same location. So I asked the first question this morning: is everybody at its place? And a lady said yes, it's like it has been before. So very glad to be here.
So we're returning to some sort of normality, but how has COVID impacted this space? And in particularly, I think, your concentration on co-investment.
It was a big lesson for all of us, right? As I said earlier today, it was the unforeseen has happened. Nobody, I think you could interview any other participant at this conference, had any idea how this could derail from the last meeting, which we had in February 2020. One of the last meetings, one of the last conferences that has been there. So it learned the lesson to invest in a broader portfolio, not to do single bets, to be really broad, to expect the unexpected, and be very disciplined in what you do.
What's the environment in terms of appetite been during this period for co-investment? Has it seen an increase or a decrease, or what have you seen?
It was a very strange crisis, because the crisis was 6 weeks. It was literally the second half of March and then April last year. And since then, business and deal flow and opportunities have been on a constant rise. And I would say 2021 is the record year in terms of deal flow. We've never had so many opportunities on the co-investment side to choose from. And so it's on this side, it looks like COVID would have never happened. There's a lot to do.
And is that particular sectors you're seeing that activity in?
Yes, it's for most of what they call the anticyclical sectors. So it's healthcare, it's food and beverage, it's software. We heard about technology, and software investments are top of the list for, I think, almost any investor. So those three sectors, together with business services, would be the ones where most deals are done.
And when the market is like that and there is that sort of demand, what sort of parameters do you have to put in place, and what do you need to be careful of?
Obviously, at the same time, deal flow has risen, also prices have risen. We are talking here in an environment of all-time high prices, all-time high leverage. So it is a warning sign. There are warning signs around us everywhere. That's why I echo the point of discipline. You have to be very selective and say 9 times no for 1 times yes. And even if you say yes, you don't know whether the horse on which you have bet at that point will win. But it's a very, very bullish environment.
You talk there about taking care and being careful about what you choose. Do teams matter too, and having those very established teams that know their sectors really well? Correct.
And hence, the incentive scheme of private equity is a very important one, because normally you deal with people on either side who are incentivized in the long run. So none of us is very happy with a single deal. You need to make the whole portfolio to be a winner. And if that's what has been proven to be very important also in terms of prices. If you are long-term you have to care for the entirety of your portfolio, and that has played out to be an important point.
And the entirety of that portfolio has to be diversified as well. This is your mantra, if you like, isn't it?
You would find it in every second page of our presentations. Then it's the raison d'être, as they say in France. Because as I said earlier, you cannot know what happened. None of us had expected last time when we were here that this impact would come. And our best companies were impacted. Companies where we discussed what could be the worst case, what could happen to this particular company. And none of us would have ever thought that this could happen. And at the same time, when we did our COVID urgency meetings in March and in May 2020, we put some companies up on the list on the COVID victims, who turned out to be just the opposite, because their businesses reinvented themselves in such a short time that at the end of the day, financially, the impact was by far not as harsh as we had expected. So things have changed a lot.
So it's a bizarre set of qualities you need in a way, because you need to have that long-term view, but you also need to be quite nimble.
You name it. There are weekly monitoring committees, so you have to be very, very spot on and look what's happening, both to the numbers but also to the people, because it's both, right? And indeed, it's a long-term play, but it does not tolerate many periods of let's say, not putting properly attention to it.
And is it good to be back at SuperReturn sharing those best practices?
It is. I mean, you've been in the UK, I guess, so you've been hit much harder by the lockdown. As we are based in Switzerland, so things were a little bit more at ease. We could go out all the time and had beautiful surroundings. But yes, it's much better to interact again in person than spending days and days and some nights behind the screen.
And I know you feel quite strongly about this particular event. It's done you well, good service, shall we say, in the past.
We shouldn't be too nice to each other, but yes, in fact, I'm very grateful to this event because it's, I don't remember, it was 2007 or 8 actually, where I got introduced to what has been turned out to be our second best co-investment we've done ever, with almost 10 times money. So yes, this wouldn't have been happening if I wouldn't have spent the time at the conference.
Let's hope it's as fruitful for you in 2021. Thank you so much for joining us, Marc. Great to talk to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.